Today, we're breaking out the tools. So you might be wondering why I waited to episode 3 of the series to actually get into the tools inside Premiere and basic editing techniques. Well, here's the thing. One of the biggest problems with Premiere Pro, especially for beginners, is that there's just so many things going on inside the interface that it's very easy to get overwhelmed and frustrated. Before we actually attempted any real edits, I wanted to get your feet wet with some of the basic features of Premiere, which help make these basic edits all the more faster and easier. In episode 1, I mentioned that Premiere Pro is a tool. And this episode is going to get more into why this software should be thought of as a tool and less so as an industry-leading editor. Here's the thing. You're probably not working for some Hollywood production set. Heck, you're probably not even doing super groundbreaking things on your channel. I've been editing professionally for over a year, and I've been editing in Premiere Pro for more than 4 years, and I wouldn't call anything that I do groundbreaking. There are lots of tools, effects, and things that I never use inside Premiere. You're going to notice the same thing with your workflow inside Premiere. There's going to be stuff you use a lot, which you might save as a preset. There's going to be stuff you use frequently, and there's going to be stuff you almost never use. We're going to do a brief overview of most of the actual editing tools today. We're actually going to save 2 of them for later because they're going to be more relevant in future episodes of this series. But even the tools that I'm going to show you today, I only use like 3 of them. This is your toolbar, where all the tools in Premiere Pro are stored. All you have to do is click the right icon or hit the relevant hotkey, and you can use these tools. We've got the Select tool, which is basically your cursor inside Premiere. You can use this to bring footage into your timeline, select footage in your timeline, whether single clips or multiple clips, and you can use it to drag the edges of clips to either lengthen or contract them. You've got your Track Select Forward tool, which allows you to basically select anything to the right of where you click in your timeline, and is really useful for putting new clips in between other sequences. This one's the Ripple Edit tool. I pretty much never use this, but it allows you to basically close gaps in your timeline and make sure that things snap correctly to other clips. If this icon on your sequence is clicked, which basically means that clips and markers are magnetic in your timeline, you almost never need to use the Ripple Edit tool, but I figured I'd demonstrate it here just in case. Probably one of your simplest and most used tools is going to be your Razor tool, which allows you to cut clips. There are some keyboard shortcuts that allow you to bypass the Razor tool, but I pretty much just use it out of force of habit, and it's a fairly easy and simple, straightforward tool to use. Next is the Slip tool. This tool allows you to readjust where the in and out points of a given clip are while keeping the overall length the same. Now, my understanding is that this tool is actually better inside DaVinci Resolve, and in Premiere, if you actually set your in and out points correctly, I find that you pretty much never have to use the Slip tool, but it is kind of a nice feature to have just in case you need it. And then the last 2, the Pen and Text tool, are actually going to be more relevant in a future tutorial, so we're going to skip over them today. Alright, now we know the tools and how to use them, but the best way to learn and practice is to actually use them. So let's hop into a project and I'll actually do a mock edit of an actual commission I did for a client and demonstrate how I use the 3 major tools that I use in most of my editing workflow. So we got some footage here from a video editing client of mine that gave me permission to use this footage in this tutorial. He's basically walking around explaining about how these tires have polluted this local area that he's exploring while he hunts for rattlesnakes. And my job is to shrink this whole clip down to an easily watchable segment and add some B-roll to complement the things he's talking about. So the first thing we want to do is actually highlight the main segment of the clip using in and out points, similar to how he did in the first tutorial in this series. Once we've done that, let's drag it or hit comma, send it into our timeline, and now let's start whipping out the tools to actually do some editing to this clip. After you've reviewed your segment, you might find that you don't particularly like a certain bit, so you might want to cut it out. Go ahead and right-click on the clip you've cut out, and then hit Ripple Delete, and your timeline will automatically contract, completely deleting the unwanted footage. Now, that jump cut might be jarring, and it might cause your viewer to be distracted and jump away. So, what you want to do is cover up your cut with some B-roll. The easiest way to do this is to find a good natural pause in the subject's speech, then add a piece of B-roll that complements the thing they say next over top of their next statement. Then what you'll do is you'll use the select tool to drag the end of that B-roll clip in so that that clip ends at another natural pause in your subject's speech. This will keep your segment feeling nice and fluid, all while keeping the viewer's attention and completely causing the viewer not to realize that a cut even happened. On pretty much most projects that I do, I will hide cuts using B-roll. Sometimes you'll find that some information fits better if it's nested within a previous segment. To do this, use your Track Select Forward tool to move all of the footage out of the way and create a space for the new segment to go. Once you've done this, squeeze your new segment in between, then cover up the cuts with B-roll. The last trick that I use when I'm editing any kind of segment, especially if there's a little bit of background noise, is I like to have little audio transitions so that the cuts are even more well hidden. In an outdoor video like this, a little bit of background noise is actually not too bad, it gives it more of a natural feel. But in some places, the change in background noise is a little bit jarring, and even though there's B-roll, the cuts are still evident. So, even though I said we weren't going to get into effects just yet in the series, let's go ahead and go into our effects tab and look up the effect Constant Power. This is a neat little audio transition that I add on almost all of my videos. Basically what this lets me do is create seamless transitions between clips without having to worry about awkward audio changes when I add a cut or something in my video. The really nice thing about the Constant Power effect is you can actually drag it with your select tool to expand or contract it, just like you can an actual clip. That's pretty much how to edit a basic video inside Premiere, and you're still breathing, so it probably wasn't that bad. If you found this video useful, make sure to leave a like, helps me out a ton, and it's no extra cost to you. And leave a comment down below, what kind of editing techniques do you want to use in your future videos? That's all for today, and I will see you in the next video.